Excellency, the Executive Secretary of IGAD, Dr. Wakne, the CAS for Ministry of Health, Dr. Rashid, my brother, the Ethiopian Ambassador to Kenya, Dr. Meles, the FAO Country Representative, Kara Mukavi, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I know that we are a little bit behind with the program, so I'll just keep it very brief. I want to take this opportunity to extend my sincere appreciation on behalf of the people of Mandera to IGAD and FAO for their donation today of an ambulance to support our programs, as well as tractors to support the farming activities along River Dawa with our various irrigation schemes in the county. I'm even more grateful and extremely, touched by the gesture of the Executive Secretary for making the effort to come to Mandera. And as a politician and as a leader, I know there is a lot more value than even the donation you're making today by physically being present here in Mandera. And we are touched, we are greatly honored, we are immensely grateful. That is the way to go in understanding community-related issues, by being at the grassroots for you to experience in real rather than in theory. This region that has brought together three key towns in Mandera, for example, where we have Mandera town, Beledharo, as well as Suftu, which if you have an aerial view of the towns, you will not be able to differentiate whether these are towns separated and belonging to three different countries. The potential in this region is extremely high. It has not been exploited. We are immensely grateful and we look forward to continued partnership with IGAD in terms of fostering that integration program between our communities as a core mandate. As one of your core mandates is the issue of drought mitigation. And I want to take this opportunity to say, as well as drought and also the locust, the partnership we have received from FAO in terms of fighting the desert locust issues, that the access gate was actually Mandera in all the three swamps that initially invaded Kenya. We've partnered very well, as well as our Ministry of Agriculture at national level, and worked extremely well. And the partnership between us and also our own Ministry of Health is extremely well, as we've seen today. KEMRI, which is a respected organization and the Ministry of Health, has worked very closely with us in building our capacity to be able to test COVID-19, not only for us, but also for our neighbors. And we have been able to mitigate and respond fairly well. And I want to say thank you very much to Ministry of Health and by extension, KEMRI. Mine, Your Excellency, Dr. Okne, will be very brief. 4 issues, to be precise. One, we have worked very closely with KEMRI, but because of resource challenges, KEMRI had planned to put up a regional disease control center for both livestock and for human beings here in Mandera, where we've donated 100 acres of land and we've just recently fenced. And that partnership would mean a lot, because Mandera is the biggest town in a radius of about 400 kilometers around itself, covering southern Somalia, southern Ethiopia, as well as northeastern Kenya. And as such, having a facility like that is going to really be transformative and life-changing. The mainstay of the economy of the population in that 400-kilometer radius is livestock. And the nearest disease testing facility for livestock is at Kikuyu, near Nairobi. So when we send a specimen during outbreak and we wait for result, it takes almost 3 to 4 weeks before we get the results, and by then we've lost a lot of livestock. And it is important to build capacity where within 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, within the region, any outbreak of diseases, whether it's animals or human beings, can be properly investigated under the partnership of KEMRI, a respected research institute within the country and the Ministry of Health. Number 2, and this is an area we believe you will be able to help, is a low-hanging fruit. The land is already there. The partnership has already started. KEMRI has a lab for testing COVID-19 here. It's just an extension. We've seen as we visited the lab, there is already one of their scientists within the lab helping in training, which they regularly do. And I want to extend my appreciation to KEMRI. The second and most transformative issue, I would not have put it any better than Dr. Solomon. Dr. Solomon has really elaborated, because we walked this journey with him from 2013 as we discussed this issue. Your organization, IGAD, sponsored a feasibility study that was called the Our River Integrated Project. That feasibility study was successfully completed. It has indicated a huge potential to engage our youth, to improve food security, to improve employment through industrialization by availing access to electricity, and to fight environmental degradation that is caused by flooding. That report was finalized in 2016, I think, Dr. Solomon, 2016, right? The 3 countries of Kenya, Ethiopia, and Somalia have engaged severally. Ethiopia had endorsed that program. Kenya government has endorsed. At the time, our brothers in Somalia had challenges with respect to government stability, and as such, they couldn't make any commitment. But the situation has improved. I want to make a request. If IGAD can pick up that issue and that report and, resuscitate it so that we're able to reactivate. What the project largely entailed is strategic damming of the Daua River at a place called Nitiaya, which was scientifically identified to be the most suitable site because it's characterized by deep gorges that are over 2.5 to 3 kilometers deep. The objective were 4. 1, because whenever it rains in Ethiopian highlands and the river, we are downstream, there is a lot of water that comes with the river, which is over 100 meters wide, and the flooding normally spills over more than 1 kilometer either side of the river, destroying crops and livelihoods along the river. So the most critical issue was flooding control. And as a side issue from flooding control is by strategically damming that river at Nitiaya. The researchers who did the feasibility study has also have determined the flow rate that is required to turn the river from year-round flowing river when the river runs dry. And that is every 3 to 4 months the river runs dry for 3 to 4 weeks. And if water is released at predetermined rate 3 to 4 weeks from the dam, then we will be able to turn our river from seasonal to permanent river, which is going to facilitate the third, farming year-round either side of the river. From Malkamari to border point 1 between Kenya and Ethiopia, farmers will be able to benefit either side. Then from border point 1 to Dolo, it is going to benefit Ethiopia and Somalia farmers along the river, where farming activities are already ongoing. And then before the river drains into the Juba River and onwards to the sea, which is not going to add much value if we don't make strategic intervention for us to benefit our population along the river. And the last issue that it was aimed at is environmental degradation intervention. And that program would have really done. And over and above, the issue of employment. And finally, by strategic damming and that deep gorge, it was determined that dam would be able to do close to 50 megawatts of hydroelectric production, which we are in dire need of. Because we cannot do industrialization in this area, we depend on diesel generators, it's very expensive and it's insufficient. In Mandera town we have 1.5 megawatts of power and it's not enough only for lighting. And we need industries to come up. The largest deposit of gypsum limestone is in Elwak area, which is a radius of 25 kilometers. We can do cement production, but to do one factory of cement, it requires more than 30 megawatts of power to be able to do what it needs to do. So we feel that the region will be able to benefit from locally supplied power that is going to benefit the 3 countries and the bordering towns along the river. That is our second and most important request. The last request is already in the pipeline. I'm only requesting by the executive authority vested in you as the executive secretary of IGAD and the member states. The World Bank, in partnership with the government of Kenya, has funded Isiolo Mandera Road, within which we have 2 bridges and customs border linking Kenya to Ethiopia. One bridge is at Ramu, Save and Ramu connecting and with customs border. The other one is at Malkasurtu, we've just visited. If that program can be, catalyzed and pushed for it to happen. Otherwise, if IGAD can do the bridge for us, that will be transformative in undertaking. Finally, I want to extend my appreciation also to the team of the county government led by the county secretary and the chief of staff and the executive and other senior cadre, including protocol, for having undertaken to host this program jointly with us.